Thank you for tuning into Bethel, BHG TV. Like, share, and subscribe. Now our host, Pastor Johnson.
Greetings, brothers and sisters. Greetings to each and every one of you. I hope that everybody is doing fabulous. This is just that time of the year where it's cold. It's cold. It's snowing just about every place. If it's not snowing, it's on fire someplace. So we have a lot going on across these United States. And I want to say it's a good time to have a good Bible study, right? To bring some clarity to all of this stuff that's going on. We have a lot going on the news. We've got wars and rumors of wars. We've got fires. We've got pestilence. We've got diseases. The hearts of many have waxed cold. A lot going on. But nonetheless, we're going to have a Bible study class tonight to bring some clarity and some understanding to all of these things that is happening across the world. Before we do that, we want to just say hello to, if you're with us on Facebook tonight, shout out to you all. We're live on Facebook, IOG Orlando, Facebook, IOG Fort Lauderdale. We're live on YouTube. We're out on 3 major platforms. And we want to thank you all for tuning in. Shout out to all of our moderators that are with us. I see you all over there in the chat room. It's always good to just go over there and say hello to everybody. I see IOG Texas, Houston, Texas is in the house. Brother Peter Johnson. There we are. We're on the Orlando campus, Facebook. Brother Drake Middleton, how you doing, my brother? Thank you for coming in. And another one of our moderators, Brother Brian Johnson, thank you for coming in. Hi, Durant, thank you for coming in. From St. Croix is in the house. Ebony from IOG Jackson is in the house. We had some people from Jackson with us. I believe it might have been Ebony and those guys. I'm not for sure. Sister Barbara Benton up in West Palm Beach. And yes, St. Croix is in the house. You know, we were in the Virgin Islands on live. St. Thomas, St. Croix, St. John, all of that. So to those that are in Jamaica, those over there in these various islands that are tuned in to us, up in Alaska, across these United States, let's get this thing rolling. The first thing we need to do is go to our scripture reading before we start this lesson tonight. And, you know, I want to make this lesson nice, short, and sweet. I really do. We're going to do that tonight. But we're going to go to Psalms 111, verse 10. Somebody said, well, why are we making it short and sweet? Because I want you to better come back and look at this lesson without a lot of talking and all like that introduction. So let's get right to it. Psalms 111, verse 10, this is what it says. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. A good understanding have all they that do his commandments. His praise endureth forever. That's very important for us to understand that, because a lot of people don't understand how to get wisdom. Well, the beginning of that is to fear the Lord. A lot of people want understanding. How do you get a good understanding? Those that are doing his commandments, because you are studying his laws, his statutes, his judgments, what the Lord wants us to do according to his word, so we can have everlasting life. Over in the book of Matthew, a young man came to Jesus and asked a question, what must I do to have eternal life? And Jesus said to him, keep the commandments. A lot of people trying to nail the commandments to the cross and say they don't exist anymore. I'm not listening to people. I'm listening to what Jesus said. If you want to have eternal life, keep these commandments. All right. Let's talk about the news. Let's talk about what's going on out there right now. Right now, brothers and sisters, we got forest fires. Our prayers to those that are out in California going through. We don't want to see anybody have to go through and see the things that is happening out there across these United States. YouTube is hot. The doomsdayer, the prophetic doomsdayers, they're having a ball with this right now. I remember back in 2019 when there was fires in California, and 2019 was the 400-year anniversary of 1619, the date that somebody gave, and said it was 400 years of slavery in America and it's time to go. And that the forest fires out in California was a part of the plagues that was supposed to happen to Egypt, Babylon, and America was Babylon. Brothers and sisters, the entire world is Babylon. And when the Lord comes back to deal with Babylon, he's not going to be dealing with just the United States when he comes back in his fury and his anger and his wrath. He's going to be dealing with the entire world. So understand that, because people will have you think that the United States is the bad place only. That's far from the truth. The entire earth the Lord is going to be dealing with, all right? So I want to put that out there because this is some of the things that people were putting out there in YouTube, and then they had some fish from an algae on top of that was coming up, and they were just really putting all the plagues out there. And of course, I kept telling people the next big thing to happen was going to be the abomination of the desolation spoken by Daniel. And you're going to have wars and rumors of wars. And I don't care if you pack up and take everything you got to Africa. If that's what you want to do, the earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof. Move anywhere you want to on this earth. But when the Lord returns, he's going to be dealing with the entire earth, brothers and sisters. There's a lot of things that's going to be happening in regions, and we know that because we understand the prophecy of what's happening. But with these fires are going on and these wars and rumors of wars and all of that, and the turbulence that's happening in the Middle East, if you ask people, they'll tell you we in the fifth seal or we in the fifth trumpet. People have no clue because they're not reading the book. All right? They're not reading the book. So tonight's lesson is titled, brothers and sisters, The End Is Not Yet. That's the title tonight. The end is not yet. You're going to have wars and rumors of wars and all of this stuff, but tonight's subject is the end is not yet. I don't care what's going on out there. I don't care what's going on the news. I don't care about the snow, and I don't care about the ice and what people are going through. People are going through things across this world. We know we got fires in California. We know that there's people coming into the knowledge of the truth, and they don't want to be in America. They don't want to be anywhere. They are mad at the world. They're mad because Israel was put into captivity. Brothers and sisters, nobody put us into captivity, but according to the scriptures, the Lord told Israel, you were our ancestors was a hard-hearted, stiff-necked, rebellious nation. And he told Israel, I will scatter you among the four corners of the earth. I will cause your children to be sold. I will cause another to sleep with your wife. And there be only anger in your eyes, nothing that you could do. You'll be you could have been the head, but now you're the tail, right? So there's a lot of people that have a lot of speculation. And they did this in 2019. They came up and said, look at what's going on. It's going down. It's going down. There's people out there that still owe me an apology from 2019. I ain't letting up. I'm not letting go of it. Of course, I'm not upset with anybody because I'm just reading the scriptures, but a lot of people were upset because they said it's a 400-year prophecy. And I said, no, it's not. It already happened in Exodus. The book of Exodus has already happened. So right now, I'm still standing on the fact that the next big thing to happen is the abomination of the desolation that Jesus warned us about in Matthew the 24th chapter. So let's go read that. Let's get right to the scripture tonight. We're going to deal with this head on. We're not going to go anywhere. We're going to deal with this so you would know what's going on, so you're not running out trying to get water and trying to get a bunker and go under and let me get off the grid and let me do this and let me do that because this thing is going down. Nothing is going down until the abomination of the desolation spoke by the prophet Daniel happened. I'm going to stick with what Jesus said. So let's go read it. Matthew the 24th chapter. All right? This is what it says. Jesus went out and departed from the temple, verse 1. And his disciples came to him for to show him the buildings of the temple. And Jesus said unto them, see ye not all these things? That was showing Jesus the buildings that were in Jerusalem. And he says, verily I say unto you, there shall not be left here one stone upon another that shall not be thrown down. So Jesus looked out and he said, you're not going to have one stone standing on any of these buildings that you all are showing me. Because the disciples actually thought that Jesus was going to come and set up the kingdom. There was going to be a revolt right there at that particular time. And Jesus had explained to them, no, he's talking about when he returns, he's going to be setting up his kingdom. And we know that after the death, burial, and resurrection of Jesus, he was here some 40 infallible days. And over in the book of Acts, they saw Jesus ascend. He went up over there by Mount Sinai. Not Mount Sinai. To the mountain. Yeah. Let's go over there to Zechariah. And I want to show it to you because Jesus said, the angel said, it's the same Jesus that y'all see going up. He's going to come right back here on Mount Olives. Let's go look at it. And Jesus, when he came back, it says, behold, the day of the Lord cometh. Well, that's not yet, but he is going to be coming. And when he comes, brothers and sisters, he's going to land right here. His feet shall stand in that day upon the Mount of Olives, which is before Jerusalem on the east. The Mount of Olives shall cleave in the midst thereof toward the east and toward the west, and there shall be a very great valley. Let me just stop here for a minute. I know that there's something out there floating that what's in Jerusalem is not the real Jerusalem, it's over in Africa. Brothers and sisters, I'm not getting into all of that. I can tell you right now, Jerusalem is where Jerusalem is. The Mount of Olives is where the Mount of Olives is. That temple that's going to be built, that Daniel spoke about, where they're going to have the abomination of desolation placed inside there, that's going to be right there where Jerusalem is. Trust me on that, okay? Because I'm going with the scriptures. But let's go. I'm not going to get into that subject tonight, but I just wanted to break that point up. But let's go right here. Let's go to the book of Acts, and let me show this to you because we just read what's going to take place. But let's go to the book of Acts and let's show you that this was also brought forth to us in the book of Acts. This is what it says. To whom also he showed himself alive after his passion, many infallible proofs, by many infallible proofs, being seen of them 40 days, and speaking of the things pertaining to the kingdom of God. This is referring to Jesus. And being assembled together with them, commanded them that they should not depart from Jerusalem, but wait for the promise of the Father, which saith he, ye have heard of me. Then he goes on to say this. I want to show you where he ascended, brothers and sisters. And when he had spoken these things while they beheld, he was taken up, and a cloud received him out of their sight. And while they looked steadfastly toward heaven as he went up, behold, two men stood by them in white apparel, which also said, Ye men of Galilee, why stand ye gazing up into heaven? This same Jesus, which is taken up from you into heaven, shall so come in like manner as ye have seen him go into heaven. Then returned they unto Jerusalem from the mount called Olivet, which is from Jerusalem a Sabbath day's journey. Now we can go back to Zechariah and we can read that. His feet shall stand in that day upon the Mount of Olives. When is that going to be? When the day of the Lord cometh. All right? So this is how we can read the scriptures and read the scriptures and put this in chronological order. But people are looking at the forest fires. They're looking at the calamities just in America. Because people are angry. Some people are coming to the knowledge of the fact that they're the people of the book, and they're upset with America because they think that America was responsible for putting them into captivity. No, our biblical ancestors was responsible for that. All right? So let's go to Matthew. Let's go back to Matthew, the 24th chapter, and let's pick that up so we can understand what's going to happen, because the end is not yet, brothers and sisters. And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, his disciples came unto him privately, saying, Tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign of thy coming and the end of the world? Those were some very important questions that I have highlighted right there. The disciples wanted to know, because Jesus told them after they walked him out and showed him all the buildings and everything out there, and Jesus said, not one stone is going to be standing upon the other. So they said, when are these things going to be? Well, that happened in 70 AD. Until this day, what was constructed then does not exist today. Not one stone is upon the other. I don't know what that Wailing Wall is. It has nothing to do with what Jesus was dealing with at that time. All right? Archaeologists can tell you that. Experts can tell you that Wailing Wall was not a part of this structure here. So they want to know, when shall these things be? That was question one. And what shall be the sign of your coming and the end of the world? Let's see what Jesus says, because I don't care what YouTube prophecy says, how they're going to take these forest fires like they did in 2019 and told people that it's time to go because the 400 years is up. And that was 6 years ago. 6 years ago. And I told people then, you're going to come into 2020, 2021, 2022. You're going to have feast day after feast day. Don't worry about nothing until you see that temple being built. And that happens, we're going to show you what you got to deal with. In the meantime, how do you interpret all of these things that's happening on the news, all the wars and all of the Middle East unrest? How do you deal with that? How do you look at that? What does that mean according to the scriptures? Jesus answered and said unto them, take heed that no man deceive you. That's including YouTube and everybody on YouTube and coming up with a thought and a theory without any biblical verses, book, chapter, and verse to back it up. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many. How do you come in his name? There are a lot of people who say that they are ministers, and they're coming in his name, and they will confirm that he is the Messiah. But they're deceiving people. They're on YouTube right now and say, hey, they'll tell you right now we're in the fourth trumpet, when no seals have even been opened up yet. They don't even understand Revelations, the 6th chapter. And then you got some people who will say, well, we're in the 5th seal, we're in the 6th seal. Brothers and sisters, they will deceive many. We do a lesson on that. We do that at a different time. Listen to this. Verse 6. Ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that you be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. This is Jesus talking. That's the only person I care to hear about. It's the only person I know that's going to bring us the right, correct information. Listen to this. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. There should be famines, pestilence, earthquakes in divers places. Brothers and sisters, we had COVID in 2020. In 1920, we had the swine flu. In 1820, we had the bubonic plague. Okay? These things are going to happen. Calamities, people are going to die. If you just go look at what happened back then, dealing with some of this stuff, and let me tell you, wasn't nothing new underneath the sun. Okay? You can go 1920, swine flu. Let's do this real quick. Swine flu. Okay? Let's bring this up. And they say 1990. I'm just going to bring some images up, just so you can understand what this is really about and what people are saying. Listen to this. Look at this. This was in 1920, 1919, swine flu. I want to click on some of these pictures. You see these people here? You see what they got on? Mask. See this? Mask. Think it's the first time that people had masks on? Look at quarantine. You see this? You think that's the first time that during COVID? No, this has happened before, right? Let's go over here. People dying. Okay? This is nothing new underneath this stuff. So I just wanted to bring it out and kind of show you what, look here, vaccine efforts during the 1918 flu. You think that people were dealing with vaccines the first time when the vaccine came up in during COVID? No. Look at this. See these people here? They all got on masks, right? Look at these people. They got on masks. Look at these people. They all have on masks. This ain't the first time. But you see, if you don't know history and you can't go back into it and look at this stuff, you would think that COVID was the first time that something like this happened, right? Nurses, look. To prevent the, here's an article. To prevent the influenza. COVID is here to stay. You got different strands. Just like when the swine flu came, man, that thing hit. You think that you saw something close? All theaters closed, schools closed until further notice? You think, that what we saw, that was the first time? No. Come on, brothers and sisters. We got to read. We got to go back and look at history. Look at this. It looks like stuff we saw during COVID. Look at this here. School terms shortened. School terms shortened to release pupils or students for work war. Move to check influenza. Look at this one here. Pneumonia. Come on. These things have been happening. All right? Nothing new. I think that was the first epidemic we dealt with. So this thing has been going on for a long time in this earth. Why is that? Why is that? Because of the scriptures. And what does the scripture say, brothers and sisters? You're going to have wars and rumors of wars. You're going to, don't be troubled. All these things must come to pass. The end is not yet. Nations are going to rise against nation. Kingdom is going to rise against kingdom. There should be famines and pestilence, earthquakes, diverse places. Yeah, you might as well add fires. It's all of this stuff. All of these are the beginning of sorrows. Okay? So you need to look at this so that people don't get you thrown off, having you go to YouTube and say, oh, this is prophecy, and like they did in 2019, it's time to go. It's time to go. It's time to get up. And a lot of people got up and went to Africa. Just say you go. If you want to move to Africa, move to Africa. That's all. Just get up and go. Go retire. Take your retirement check and go. Ain't nothing wrong with that. But you can't say that it's the 400 years like you did in 2019, and that didn't fit the scriptures. Didn't fit at all. And so when we look at all of this, brothers and sisters, I don't get shaken. I'm looking for this. I'm going by what Jesus is saying. Here's what Jesus says. Many false prophets shall arise and deceive many. And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. This is the time that we're living in. And there's a lot of false prophets on YouTube. Saying it's fires, it's coming. The Lord showed me a dream. He's getting ready to come back. The Lord showed me that America's going down, that Europe is going down. Brothers and sisters, the hearts of many have waxed cold. We're watching this right before your own eyes. We see what's happening right now. We can watch this stuff. But then it turns around and says, but he that shall endure to the end, the same shall be saved. So what should we be doing? What I'm doing tonight. This gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come. This is why we're trying to get this gospel out. This is why we're trying to let you see in what's happening and get the gospel that the kingdom of heaven is at hand. It's going to be right here on this earth. And we're trying to get this thing out to people. We're trying to get this thing out in different languages, tongues, dialects, and not people to be scared. You know what's going to cause a great falling away? Prophetically, the Bible says there's going to be a great falling away when people get tired and get frustrated like they did in 2019. It's time to go. It's time to go. Like they did in 1960s. There was a whole group that left Chicago and the United States and went to go move to Israel. And today those people are catching hell. Brothers and sisters, if you read this book, when you read Zechariah the 14th chapter, Israel is the last place you want to be living at. It's the last place. You don't want. It says that the nations are going to come against Israel when that time comes. But that temple's got to be built, and it hasn't been built yet. So what did Jesus say in verse 15? When ye therefore shall see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet. stand in the holy place. Whoso readeth, let him understand. You want to know why people on YouTube don't know what's going on? Because they're not reading. You know why they don't understand? Because they're not opening up the book. What are they doing? They're just looking at news clips, and they're just putting together doomsday. It's going down. It's this. It's that. Scaring people. Should we not be prepared? I'm not saying that at all. Should we be concerned or look at what's happening out there? Absolutely. I watch the news every night. But am I bent out of shape because somebody is having a war? No. Why? Because I'm reading this book. And what did Jesus say? Right here. This is what he said. This is what he said. I'm going to go back up here. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. So you know what I do? I just stay prayed up. I pray, Lord, please keep me on track. Lord, keep me in your word. Keep me meditated in your word. Let me be like David. Let me take the commandments and bind them about my neck and write them upon the table of my heart so I can find favor and good understanding, so I can make it, so my name could be written in the Lamb's book of life. And give me understanding with this word so we can preach this gospel into all the nations. But right now, I'm not troubled with this stuff. I'm not troubled because there's some forest fires out in California. There's earthquakes. There's tsunamis. There's all of this stuff going on, fires. I'm not troubled because this country goes against this country and this kingdom goes against that kingdom. No. See that you be not troubled, for the end is not yet. Here's what I'm looking for right here. When ye therefore shall see the abomination of desolation spoken by Daniel the prophet stand in the holy place, whoso readeth, let him understand. That's what you need to be watching out for. That's what we need to be watching out. And you know what he says when that happens? Look at verse 21. For then shall there be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be. And except those days should be shortened, and they will be, to 3.5 years. That's another lesson we'll do at a different time. Except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. Wow. See what we're dealing with? That's what we're dealing with, brothers and sisters. And there's so much to read in this 24th chapter of Matthew. I want you all to take some time. Go in there. Look at some of the lessons that we have dealing with the abomination of desolation. Go to IOG on YouTube. Just look up IOG. Just put in the letters IOG. Put in their abomination. Put in their end time. Look at some of the lessons that a lot of us have on our various channels across the YouTube. Just go to the main site and look at the lessons that a lot of us brothers are putting together dealing with this. And we're giving you book, chapter, and verse. It shows you what it is, right? So when we read this and you see this stuff going on, you know what has to happen is that temple has to be built. And if that temple is not built, which it isn't, but you can see the calamity and the politics and the maneuverings of things, it's getting ready to happen. It's getting ready to happen, brothers and sisters. And he let us know that this abomination of desolation spoken by Daniel the prophet. Let's go look at that real quick. Let's go over there and look at that abomination, that prophet, that abomination of that desolation that's going to happen. And so we could read it and see it so that you would understand what it's talking about. We're not going to get into all of the chapter, but let's see what this person is going to do so you can understand when it happens, you know that it's going to happen. So let's go to the book of Daniel, because that's what Jesus says, when you shall see the abomination of desolation spoken by Daniel the prophet. So let's go look at some of this, not all of it. I want to go just to a little bit of it. Daniel, the 7th chapter. And let's scroll down here. Listen to this. I, Daniel, was grieved in my spirit in the midst of my body, and the visions of my head troubled me, because he saw a vision, and this thing bothered Daniel. I came near to one of them that stood by and asked him the truth of all this. So he told me and made me know the interpretation of the things. These great beasts, because what he saw was a lion, a bear, a leopard, and the fourth beast, there was not an animal that he could really attribute it in the likeness thereof. These great beasts which are four kings, which shall arise out of the earth. We're in the 4th kingdom now. There's only going to be 4 kingdoms that rise up. The first one was Babylon, then it was the Medo-Persians, and then it was Greek, and it's Rome. How do we know it's Rome? Because it was Rome that defeated Greece. And today, everybody is falling after the practices of Rome. And that's why you hear me say Roman Christianity, because Emperor Constantine, who came from Rome, set up the pagan Christianity that we have today. You won't find anywhere in the Bible where we're commanded to have a birthday for Jesus with Santa Claus coming down the chimney. You don't find that nowhere in the scriptures, brothers and sisters. That's paganism that Jeremiah, the 10th chapter, warned us about. Okay? So we know what we're dealing with because we're reading the book. We're reading the book. We understand what's happening, right? So these great beasts, which are four kings, which shall arise out of the earth. And it's going to be trouble. But listen to what he says. But the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever, because it's going to be a tribulation. But he says, don't worry. The saints are going to bounce and take this thing over. Listen to this. But that didn't, having the information that the saints are going to possess the kingdom forever and ever, that did not satisfy Daniel's curiosity, because that fourth beast troubled him. And this is what he said in verse 19. Then I would know the truth of the fourth beast, which was diverse from all the others. It was exceeding dreadful, whose teeth were of iron, and his nails of brass, which devoured and brake in pieces, and stamped the residue with his feet. And of the 10 horns that were in his head, and of the other which came up, and before whom 3 fell, even of that horn that had eyes and a mouth that spake very great things, whose look was more stout than his fellows. I beheld the same horn made war with the saints, and prevailed against them. But he already told Daniel, don't worry, the saints of the Most High are going to take the kingdom. But Daniel wasn't worried about that. He was looking at what they were going through for a 3.5-year period. And this is why Jesus says, when you see the abomination of desolation spoken by Daniel, then there's going to be a time of tribulation like you have never seen before. I'm going to come right back here. Here's what Jesus says. After you see these things take place according to Daniel, there shall be a great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be. We read this. So let's go back to Daniel. He wanted to know the truth of this fourth beast. And he saw 10 horns. Right now, brothers and sisters, we are in the 10th dynasty of the fourth beast. That's it. There's no more kingdoms that's going to rise up out of the earth. Some people say, well, America is the lead. No, America's following Rome. We're following the practices of Rome. So is Europe. That's why they call it the European Union. It's called the Treaties of Rome. This is why every president in the United States will go over there and kiss the dynasty's ring over there. They're going to go kiss the Pope's ring all the time. Okay, so you have to look at what's happening and understand this from a biblical perspective. Listen to this. The same horn made war with the saints and prevailed against them. How long? Well, until the Ancient of Days came, and judgment was given to the saints of the Most High, and the time came that the saints possessed the kingdom. Then he said, the fourth beast shall be the fourth kingdom upon the earth, which shall be diverse from all kingdoms, and shall devour the whole earth, and shall tread it down, and break it into pieces. And the 10 horns out of this kingdom are 10 kings that shall rise, and another shall rise after them, and he shall be diverse from the first, and shall subdue 3 kings. That's a whole lesson and a different lesson. I'm not going to get into that, but listen to what's going to happen. He, meaning the abomination of desolation, shall speak great things or speak great words against the Most High. How do you speak great words against the Most High? Well, the Lord's words, his instructions are in the book. When somebody says and teaches the opposite of what the Lord, the Most High, has given us, you are speaking great words against the Most High. The Lord said the last day of the week is the Sabbath. But there's a system out there that's teaching the first day of the week. The opposite of the last day of the week is the first day of the week. And that's what it does. It preaches the opposite, and that they speak great words against the Most High. We're out the Most High, and we're out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws. I'm going to hold here for a second because I want you to understand some things. This system of a religion that's speaking great words against the Most High, that has incorporated pagan practices, is teaching that we're supposed to celebrate the birth. And the scriptures does not tell us to celebrate the birth of Christ. In fact, the opposite of celebrating the birth, the opposite of birth is death. And the scriptures tells us to remember his death. Jesus said, as often as you eat this bread, as often as you drink this cup, you do show the Lord's death till he comes. This is why we have the Passover. Every Christian should be celebrating Passover. Every Christian, because Jesus said that when you do this, you do show his death. You do show recognition of his death and what it meant. But what does this religion, this fourth beast, have us doing? Celebrating the opposite of his death, birth. You see, we have to think so we can understand what's really happening. But what's going to happen is when that temple's built and the abomination of desolation will be placed in that temple, listen to this, and they shall be given into his hands until a time, times, and the dividing of time. What is that? A time is a year, prophetically. Times is plural, so that's 2. Plus 1 is 3. And a dividing of a time is a half a year. So that's why it's 3.5 years, brothers and sisters. This tribulation that Jesus says you're going to see a tribulation like never before. And that's going to happen. And these events are going to take place over a 3.5 year period. Let's go to Daniel the 12th chapter. Daniel the 12th chapter, verse 7. 12th chapter of Daniel, verse 7. Let's continue to look at that over there. Let's go to the 12th chapter. Let's go to the 12th chapter period. Let's pick this up over here. Jesus said this, and he told us to read Daniel so we can get understanding. Look at verse 1. And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince, which standeth for the people, the children of thy people. And there shall be a time of trouble. We just read that in Revelation. Such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. And at that time thy people shall be delivered, every one that shall be found written in the book. So if you found written in that book, you're going to go through. In other words, everybody that goes through and comes out of that tribulation and don't take the mark of the beast, you will be found written in that book. There's a book that's going to have the book of life. And if you can endure that, your name is going to be written in that book. Many of them that sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake, some to everlasting life, some to shame and everlasting contempt. So he's letting us know what's going to be taking place. There's going to be a time of trouble. Let's skip down to verse number 7. And I heard the man clothed in linen, which was upon the waters of the river, when he beheld up his right hand and his left hand unto heaven, and swear by him that liveth forever, that the things that we're talking about in Daniel, it shall be for a time, a year, times 2 plus 1 is 3.5 a time, 3.5 years. And when he shall have accomplished to scatter the power of the holy people, all these things shall be finished. Because this is going to be a 3.5 year tribulation, brothers and sisters, that we're going to have to go through. All right? That's what's going to happen. And we're going to go through, and we're going to have to experience some things. And there's going to be that temple that's going to be built. It's going to be built. And that's when you look at the war in the Middle East and what's going on, there are people that's trying to get over the Gaza Strip, move everybody out so that that temple can be built. It can't be built while people who are living there are occupying the territory. They will be moved out. How? I don't know. You could see it taking place, but they will be moved out. They will be moved out. Listen to this. Let's go to Revelations, the 11th chapter. Because there's going to be a temple built. And Jesus, all of this stuff was given in the scriptures. Let's go to Revelations 11th chapter. Let's go look at it. And there was given me a reed like unto a rod. And the angel stood saying, Arise and measure the temple of God. Because the temple of God is going to be built right there in Jerusalem. He says, I want you to go rise and measure this temple and the altar and them that worship therein. But listen to what he says, because this is going to be the temple that Jesus is going to construct through Zerubbabel. But listen to this. That's a lesson of a different lesson at a different time. But listen to what he told them. While you're measuring the temple where it's going to be put, the court, which is without the temple, leave out. The court that of the new construction that's outside of the temple, don't measure it. Measure it not. For it is given unto the Gentiles, and the holy cities shall they tread underfoot. How long? 42 months. How long is 40 and 2 months? A time, times, and a half of a time. 3.5 years. How many months is 3.5 years? 40 and 2 months. That's the way it is, brothers and sisters. And there's going to be 2 witnesses that's going to be there to offset things, because the scriptures tells us. And I will give power unto my 2 witnesses, and they shall prophesy, here we go, 1,260 or 60 days, clothed in sackcloth. How long is that? 3.5 years. See, so we're getting our answer as to what's going to take place and all the things that's going to happen. We just got to read it. We got to look at it and see what's going to happen. But during that tribulation, we can get to a place of safety. And the Lord will protect us, how long? For 3.5 years. Let's go read that in Revelations, the 12th chapter. Revelations, the 12th chapter. Let's go take a look at that, the very next chapter. Revelations, the 12th chapter. And the woman fled into the wilderness, where she hath a place prepared of God, that they should feed her there 1,260 days. Let's go back up to the very first verse so we can get some understanding. And there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun, the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars. This is Israel, because you can go and read that where even Joseph had a dream of the sun, the moon, and 11 stars. He was the 12th star, but he saw 11 stars with the sun and moon bowing down before him. And that happened when he became the viceroy in Egypt, which led them to eventually be there for 400 plus years. That's the 400 years that people said that happened in 2019, that it already occurred. But nonetheless, he sees this great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun, the moon, and under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars. And she, being with child, cried, travailing in birth, and pain to be delivered. And there appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and 7 crowns upon his head. This is talking about Satan, brothers and sisters. And his tail drew the 3rd part of the stars of heaven, and did cast them to the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman which was ready to be delivered, for to devour her child as soon as it was born. She brought forth a man-child, who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron. And her child was caught up unto God and to his throne. He's going to return. But when that tribulation happens, the woman fled. That's Israel. Fled into the wilderness, where she hath a place prepared of God, that they should feed her there 3.5 years. That's what this is, 1,260 years. Because what did Jesus tell us, brothers and sisters, back in Matthew? There's going to be a tribulation such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, nor shall ever be. And except those days should be shortened, there shall no flesh be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days will be shortened. There will be to 3.5 years. What happens immediately after the tribulation? After the 3.5 years is over with, brothers and sisters, immediately after the tribulation of those days, the sun shall be darkened, the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens shall be shaken. And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven, and then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great joy. See, we understand what's happening. We know what's taking place. The end is not yet. All of this stuff happening, no matter what they say on YouTube, until you see the abomination of desolation spoken by Daniel stand in the holy place. The end is not yet. It's not yet. But when you see that temple being built in Jerusalem, and the abomination of desolation is going to be placed in that temple, it's going to start the opening of the seals. None of the seals are opened up yet, brothers and sisters. Let me just show this to you in the book of Revelations, and we're going to wrap this up. I saw when the Lamb opened one of the seals, and I heard as it were the noise of thunder, and one of the four beasts saying, "Come and see." And I saw, and behold, a white horse, and he that sat on him had a bow, and a crown was given unto him, and he went forth conquering and to conquer. The opening of this seal, the first seal, is in sync when the abomination of desolation spoken by Daniel the prophet stand in that holy place. And when that happens, 3.5 years is going to go by. And it's going to be a time of trouble like you've never seen before. And during that 3.5 years, brothers and sisters, you're going to see the second seal open. You're going to see the third seal open. You're going to see the fourth seal open. You're going to see the fifth seal open. This is all during the 3.5 years. And then, after 3.5 years, you're going to see the sixth seal open. And that's why the Bible says, and immediately after the tribulation of those days, you're going to see the sun, the moon, the stars from heaven, and you're going to see the Son of Man coming, and the tribes of the earth are going to mourn. When that sixth seal opens, brothers and sisters, Christ is returning. There's going to be a great earthquake. The sun became black as sackcloth of hair. The moon became as blood. We just read this in Revelation. And listen to this. And the heaven departed as a scroll when it is rolled together, and every mountain and island were moved out of their places. And the kings of the earth and the great men, the rich men, the chief captains and the mighty men, every bondman and every free man, hid themselves in the dens and the rocks and the mountains, and said to the mountains and rocks, "Fall on us, hide us from the face of him that sat up upon the throne, and from the wrath of the Lamb." Why? For the great day of his wrath has come. Who shall be able to stand? This is why he said right here in Revelation, immediately after the tribulation, the 3.5 years, when the six seals are going to be opened up from year one, day one of that 3.5 year, those seals are going to be opened. And after the 3.5 years, immediately after the tribulation, what's going to happen? There's going to appear the sign of the Son of in heaven. The tribes of the earth are going to mourn, and you're going to see the Son of Man coming in the clouds. And what are those people going to say? They're going to be running and mourning, which is what we just read in the book of Revelation. When the seventh seal is open, that's when you're going to have, brothers and sisters, during that seventh seal, that's when you're going to have the horns come out. That's the trumpets. So when people start seeing fires in California, and they say it's going down, and there's trouble in the Middle East, and we're in the fourth trumpet, no trumpets have even come forth because no seals have been opened. So we understand this. We understand what's happening. Very confident because we read in the book. All right, brothers and sisters, I told you I wasn't going to be before you long tonight. And I wanted to just get this part of the lesson out. The end is not yet. Give you a little bit to just, as they say, wet your whiskers and give you a little understanding. A book that you need to get, go to the Israel of God website, or you can call Riverdale. Go when you go to the website. Look up a book called The Four Winds of Heaven. It's a book written by Senior Pastor Henry Boyd, and it explains a lot of what I was teaching tonight, and more, and more. It gives you a lot of understanding about the four winds of heaven. So go there, look at it. Let me see if I could pull it up so you could see it. And it's called The Four Winds of Heaven, the Israel of God. Let's see if that book is in here. All right. So let's go let you go look at it so you can take a look at it. It's on the internet. But it's in Amazon. It's at Amazon. You can go get that book. It's right here. And it's called The Four Winds of Heaven. And it's right there. Go get that book. It's just $35. That's it. It's going to be the best book that you can get that will give you book, chapter, and verse to understand what Daniel was talking about. Go get it. What Revelation is talking about. There's a little bit closer look at that book right there, The Four Winds of Heaven. And they give you an analysis of what people deal with the rapture and all like that. You're not going to be raptured, people. Go look at this. Go get this book. Go get this book and take a good look at it. All right? Again, there it is, called The Four Winds of Heaven. Go there and get it. All right? That being said, thank you for tuning in tonight. I'll be in Orlando this weekend at the IOG Orlando class. Shout out to Orlando and all the brothers and sisters up there. Looking forward to getting back up there and having a great time. I see IOG DC in the house. Wherever you're from, brothers and sisters, let's do a roll call. Put in the chat room what city you from. And what if you're an IOG class, put in IOG in what city. And if there's no IOG, that's the Israel of God Bible study class near you. Just put your city in there anyway. Let's see where people are coming from tonight. I want to see where all of you all are coming from and who we have there. So I see Lola F. She put in IOG DC. So shout out to Lola F. That's where she's from. She's from IOG DC in the house. Put in there where you're from, brothers and sisters. We got Brother Drake from Midland, Texas, is in the house. Shout out to Brother Drake Middleton. He's one of our moderators. Come on. Dorette got the book. She says, great book, very edifying. We got we got Sister Tracy Martin. How you doing, Sister Tracy? She's always tuning in. I really appreciate you coming in from the Facebook side, my sister. Thank you for tuning in. IOG Memphis. There's Nashville, Tennessee. Tennessee's in the house tonight. We got Homestead, Florida in the house. Brother Brian Johnson, my brother from another mother, moderator in the house. We got Camilla from New Jersey is in the house. Sister Barbara Benton, West Palm Beach, Florida. The sister drives down just about every Sabbath with Sister Marie and Brother Jeffries and Brother Nashan, always coming down. Look at Brother Peter Johnson in the house right here from IOG Fort Lauderdale. Sister Dorette from St. Croix, Virgin Island. She says she watches all of the classes. Look at that right there. This is what it's about, brothers and sisters, getting this word, getting this gospel out, getting it out. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to get this gospel out into all of the four quarters of the earth. So, because Jesus said this gospel must be preached. And then, because it's preached as a witness to people. I see you in the house. You're welcome, Sister Tracy. You're welcome. Brooklyn is in the house. IOG New Jersey is in the house. And we got Sister Ebony, Facebook in the house. Man, this is so wonderful to see all of you all in here tonight. All right? Listen, I want to get out of here. Remember, let the words of your mouth and the meditation of your heart, whatever you do, brothers and sisters, let it always be acceptable in His sight. Okay? Don't be afraid. Just get ready. The end is not yet. God bless you.